So, hey everyone, my name is Ben Pontius. I am Elementum's Midwest Regional Director based in Fargo, North Dakota, and I'm here with Matthew Moore, who's down in Austin, Texas. We've had the honor of being partnered with him in their church, which I'll let him talk more about in a moment. For how long has it been, Matt? Year and a half?
We're coming up on a year, probably about 13 months, I think, maybe, right around there.
Time flies, man.
I know.
So Matt, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about the ministry that you're doing, how long you've been doing it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I am married with 4 kids. We're here in Austin, Texas. I'm pastoring Tapestry Church. Our focus is college-age, young adult, UT students, that kind of age group here in Austin. So yeah, I went into ministry a little over 15 years ago at a church at the University of Michigan, which is where I'm from, where I graduated from. Did a church venue plant at Michigan State, and then moved down to Austin in 2012. Pastored a church for a year, and then started the work on planting this church, Tapestry Church, which yeah, so we are a small church right now. We're 10 to 15-ish, kind of replanting, and yeah, love Austin, love living in Texas. Do not miss the winters or the cold.
Yeah, when we're recording this, it was 5 days ago here in Fargo in the Midwest, we got 2 inches of snow. It was gone by the end of the day, but it fell from the sky.
It was still there though, and that's what matters.
Yeah, in the middle of May. So talk to us a little bit more about what does the church look like? What's a normal week look like there? Obviously, stuff's a little bit different right now. We're recording this in May 2020, in the middle of COVID-19 stuff. But maybe let's say you can talk a little bit about pre-COVID and what you're currently doing. What does this ministry look like?
Yeah, so we meet Sunday evenings at my place. We were doing 5 p.m. We do dinner together. We'd all eat, kind of hang out, and then that's about an hour-ish, and then an hour-ish we do just like a house church. And we were focused really on just doing a lot of equipping, using the 4-chair discipling book is what we're working through. And then we do a life group. We're doing them now Tuesdays, where we'll have men and women together, and then we'll for kind of discussing the passage, whatever we're looking at. We're working through John right now. Then we'll break off into like men and women's group, kind of discuss, have accountability, and all that. So we try to keep the passage discussion short, 20-30 minutes max, and then leave maybe 30 minutes to an hour for each group of men and women to just talk, discuss. That's a key point. So everything's on Zoom now. So love Zoom.
The digital
I wish
world.
I would have bought stock in January.
Yeah, exactly.
But then Friday nights we'll do like Jackbox online, something like that, something fun, just to be together. So yeah, that's really it. And then trying to do Zoom meetings, during the week. So it's a lot of staring at a laptop right now.
Yeah, that's life in the midst of COVID-19.
Yeah.
So what got you into ministry? Give us a brief overview of what inspired you to do what you're doing.
Yeah, I didn't have like the angel in the closet experience or anything like that. When I was at the University of Michigan, I got involved at a small church plant, and there a guy, TJ, really kind of came alongside me and discipled me, and got involved in leadership kind of accidentally. It was a small church, and I asked him about like a college small group, and he's like, hey, we obviously don't have that. I've got a men's group of people, and they're like 40s and 50s. You're definitely welcome to jump in there. At that point, I thought that was old. It is not old at all. It is young. It is the prime of your life.
True story.
Yeah, as a 41-year-old. But I was like, yeah, it's not really what I'm looking for. And he just said, kind of offhandedly, he's like, hey, if you get a group of college students together, he's like, oh, I'll lead a group. And so that was like Sunday. I called him Tuesday. I'm like, hey, TJ, I've got like 8 to 10 college students. I've never been in a small group. I don't know if that's enough. And talking to him later, he's like, yeah, I completely forgot that I'd said that. There's just
That's
one of those
funny.
things that you say and no one ever does anything with it. He's like, oh, and so he's like, I got off the phone and like told my wife, I guess I'm leading a college small group, and it's now the largest small group in the church. So
That's great.
like this thing. So he said, he's like, I will lead this, but on the condition that you learn to lead it. And I was like, I didn't want to lead anything. I was just trying to I wanted to be a part of something. And so through the course of that, he just came alongside me, discipled me, eventually passed it off to me. And I was studying my degrees in secondary education. So I was studying to be an English teacher, high school English teacher, and God just shifted my passions to eventually multiple people had said, like, have you considered going into ministry? Like, nope, I haven't, and I'm not. And then it just, the more I did it, the more my passion was just kind of shifted to that, where it just seemed like, okay, I've had enough people saying this. God, I'm open to this. I'm going to explore it. And the more I explored it, the more it was just like, all right, this is going to be a fit. Ended up connecting with, started going to church planter meetings because I had a heart for church planting, and met a guy there. Ended up, there was a campus focused church at University of Michigan. The small church plant I was at was like, you should jump in there. Like, this is about the kingdom. We're small and just trying to stay alive. We're not going to be able to launch the kind of things you want to do. And so jumped in there, graduated, got married, went on staff, raised support. It's fun.
And here you are.
And here I am. Went to Michigan State, did a church plant. But I loved the idea of starting something, working from scratch and adapting. So I love that. And then just my heart for college students was just, I'm like, they're not in church. Like, my friends weren't in church. It was irrelevant to them. And so I wanted to see that change. And it's such a strategic mission field.
Absolutely.
You just have such an opportunity to impact lives long term. And so I was like, this is what I want to give my life to.
That's awesome, man. It definitely is, like you're saying, it's definitely a strategic moment in life. Lots of big decisions made between 18 and 25-ish, when most people are in the college age realm. So, obviously you've been doing college ministry for a while, leading for quite a while before jumping in with Elementum. What inspired you to partner with Elementum?
Yeah, let's see. So we were coming out of a pretty rough season a little over a year ago. The movement I was a part of was very staff, like vocational ministry focused, and I just removed the other staff couples on the team and removed them from staff and leadership after this year-long process. So we're just feeling really burned out. Had a lot of just like, we built momentum, and then it was just like the energy was just gone from me. Just feeling really burned out. It's kind of like, I was going through a process like, do I even really want to do this anymore? And God just kept confirming, like, yes, this is what I want you to do. At that point, we were still running a Sunday service. We were small. We were in a space. It was way too big for us. And it just felt like we were doing church things, but just kind of felt stuck. It was just like, all right, how do we move this forward? And kind of the model I'd been using wasn't working. And so I was just in this place where it's just like, okay, what do we do next? I want something that's much more simple. Clarity was like a thing. I was just like, man, it's just, what do we do next? So got connected with Andy. I'd met him at a coffee shop in Austin, and
Was that just a random meeting, or because I don't think I know how you guys connected?
Through Mitch, through the Southern Baptist
Okay.
Texas Convention, was like, hey, I've got this guy you should connect with.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how. And so we met up, and so yeah, he just kind of walked through. Here's what we do. Here's how we think about things, and I was just like, this is what we need. I loved that it was very process and principle focused, and not like, we're going to give you this and then this is what you run this play.
Yeah.
It's the, even getting to know other people in Elementum, like the ministries look very different type of context and how it plays out, but the principles and the process are the same. And so I really liked that. I liked that, and I've appreciated more, having been in Elementum for a year, that things are kept small. At my age, I've been to a lot of large conferences, and those are fine. But I think the things I really like that really help me grow, get me to think, are the relational connections and the smaller group where it's like you interact. So that type of thing has been really helpful. And that's some of it that I'm like, I want to process. I've learned like not to jump ahead, like to just kind of work.
Yeah.
Like Andy's told me multiple times, like, don't chase the shiny things. And that's what we were doing. That's why we were running the service with the amount of people we had, and so that kind of thing. Like, this is process, this is principle, this isn't cut and paste, but you guys figure out your context. Here's the tools to figure out your context, and then here's the next step. Those have been the things that have been helpful.
So what are
I recommend y'all?
Yeah. What are a couple of the shifts that you've made over the last year? You're talking about how you've changed kind of the format of what you're doing. What are some of those shifts?
So, I mean, one of the things we did was we stopped meeting. We stopped meeting in like a public space and moved to my living room. And we just added a dinner thing. The things we were always good at were like relationships, and discipleship. And so it's like, we're doing this other stuff that's not who we are, that's not where we're at. And it doesn't emphasize like what we're good at. It's not emphasizing our strengths, it's emphasizing our weakness. Of like, we are very small and in a beautiful like cathedral, but it seats 140 and we're 15. So this isn't our strength. We're not putting on display what God's given us, which is our ability to build relationships and people who come feel in quickly. We're not putting that on display. So that was one of the shifts. We started meeting in my living room. We added a meal. I think for me as a leader, just like, okay, lay leaders, how do I raise up a lot of lay leaders who have the challenges of working full time? We've got, one guy in Whole Foods corporate, working at their world headquarters, another guy working at St. Ed's, which is a university here. We have other people that are now like delivering for Amazon. We've got these people who are working full-time jobs. Some of them are taking school. They're involved in different clubs. How do we train and equip them and make that kind of the focus of what we're doing? I think, and just not chasing the shiny thing, which is the Sunday service for me. That's the thing for us, is like, I like to teach. I like to do those things that kind of go along with that, and it can feel really good to have like, look at numbers as we were growing. That was kind of like a thing, but it's like, it was really taken away from probably what we should have been doing. We shouldn't have started the service when we did, and we shouldn't have kept doing it as long as we did. So failures in my leadership.
And you learn as you go, right?
Yeah, God had to take me through some things before I could get to a place where we're going to be healthier.
Yeah. So maybe on a personal or like leadership level, what are a couple of the things that you've learned through that process over the last year?
Let's see. I mean, I think some of the things that have been helpful is for me have been taking advantage of some of the opportunities for growth for just me as a pastor, like doing the relational theology intensive,
Hmm.
which has been helpful, going through the unique process. I've got one of our key leaders going through that as well. Those have been really helpful. Uh, Ron has me doing, I'm on my third 90-day Bible reading, which has been, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty transformative.
That's awesome.
But so those have kind of been, those have been helpful. And I think just like, all right, where are we at in the process? What do we need to do right now to move the ball forward? And making sure we're doing the right work. There's a lot of great work to do, but what's the right work we need to be doing?
Yeah,
And
that's a great question
just
to
kind
ask.
of committing to the process. Like, all right, we're going to work through this process. We're not going to jump ahead. We're not going to skip steps. We're just going to stay consistent and move through it. And I think how Elementum has it structured is really helpful. So thinking differently about staff and leadership, and then just some personal shifts and like, all right, what are we important? Like we don't really talk about numbers at all
Hmm.
anymore. It's just like it's not how we're going to measure things. How are we doing? How are we doing making disciples? Do we have lost people we're praying for? You know, who are the people who are, you know, just young believers that we can be reaching out to and connecting, and just kind of these basic things.
Yeah, that's so transformative to be clear on what are you measuring, what are you valuing, what's the focus on, versus just focusing on kind of the default easy stuff.
Yeah, like we've got it. Once we get, you know, once we have this amount of staff, or we have this going on, or the Sunday, the whatever it is, you know, like um, I think that's been a big shift. I think one of the coolest moments was last week. We had our core team meeting. We were talking about kind of 1, 3, and 5 year, and just that the things that the core team were like hoping for were all very discipleship and relationship oriented, and not
Awesome.
like when do we launch a big Sunday service? You know, like when do we do that? It's like let's hope we can multiply house churches and have that going really well before we even consider doing something different. You know, having people in a year or so who aren't here now, who get invited and then invite someone else, and you know, we're sitting here seeing some generational growth, even just in the area of inviting,
Yeah.
connecting. So those type of things, I was just like, all right, we're getting it. We're
Yeah.
getting it.
Say more about that, man. What if you could look, jump a year into the future, what would be your dream or vision for the church a year from now?
A year from now, I think I would love for us to be very clear on who we are, what our strengths are, and then kind of how we want to approach things. And I'd love for that discussion to come out of our core team. So, um, excuse me, a lot more clarity on that. I think some of the generational growth and discipleship, that all the people who are currently here are equipped, understand here's who we are, here's what we're doing, here's how we're doing it. You know, they get the why, they
Yeah,
understand that.
it's
Um,
huge.
and then just slow, steady growth that's sustainable and healthy. Um, I think you know, in a year or so, if we could have everyone equipped and everyone, I think if you're using kind of the 4-chair discipleship thing, have people at all 4 chairs
Mhm.
regularly in our
Yeah,
church. Um, right now, we've got 1 through 3,
yeah,
uh, and then I would be in the 4th chair. So having more people, and wherever someone's at, have them move to the next spot. If we could have that happen, that'd be a good year.
yeah. Just for people listening, 4-chair discipleship. It's a book by Dan Spader. Highly recommend. We use it within the Elementum process, and it's a great framework for thinking about making disciples and where people are at in the process of growing as a disciple. So get the book and read it.
Yeah, if you've been doing discipleship, there's probably not going to be anything revolutionary about it. I don't think there was a lot of, I don't know what new info there was in there. It's just laid out really clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what some of the people who've been around our church, and even some of the people I've recruited down from Michigan State who are part of our church, who've heard discipleship teachings and trainings, their comments have been like, this is very clear. Where it's just like, it's very simple, it's visual, and that's what makes it really helpful, is it's just clear and simple.
Awesome, man. So one last question for you. You know, a lot of the people who will be watching this are probably going to be college ministry leaders, young adult ministry leaders, whether they're like you or they're planting a church to reach college students, or maybe they're a college young adult, maybe youth pastor, worship pastor who's also has a heart for that age range, working at a church or doing something solo. What would you want to say to them to encourage, inspire, challenge them?
Yeah, I think the work you're doing is important, and it's not about the size or comparing yourself to other ministries. Like, the work you're doing is important, and there's a need for what you're doing. And you'll discover that the more you hone in on the clarity. That's kind of what we're finding. There's just a huge need. Like this generation, more than I think in the last 5 to 10 years, it just seems like lonely. The families have continued to just kind of disintegrate, and there's just this need for real relationships where people can come and just, okay, I can just be who I am. Yeah. Particularly like for us in Austin and UT, highly academic school, tons of pressure to perform, and to have a place where you can come. It's just like, okay, I don't have to put on anything, any mask or anything. It's just, okay, I can be who I am. Providing that, and then providing a mission that like matters. This is worth giving your life to. There's a lot of causes out there, but this one's eternal. So I think like for us, we were stuck. I didn't even know how stuck we were. But like, if you're stuck, just, it's okay to be stuck. Just, it's okay to be where you're at. Just don't stay there. Yeah. Like, assess your reality and then get the help you need. I think that's what I was in the process of doing. I was just like, what we've been doing doesn't work. I need something different. Something to kind of help me move forward, or we're going to be done. And so yeah, I think get help, and if you're going to jump into partnerships, find other people, find relationships, and things that will help you grow. Because if you're stuck as a leader, your church is going to be stuck sooner or later. Your charisma might get you through a little bit, but it's not going to carry you long term. So figuring out, find those connections so you're not alone. And then if you're going to, like for us, we're like, all right, if we're going to jump in with Elementum, we're going to jump in. So we're going to do all the things that they do, and we're just going to go for it. So when we're be in it, let's be in it. And if not, then let's not. Yeah. I think that's been really helpful. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be stuck. It's okay to be small, but figure out how to keep growing.
Yeah, man, we've been honored. It's been a ton of fun to be working with you. I know you and I don't get to work as directly, but it's fun to hear stories, and when we're on the group coaching calls and stuff, to hear what God's doing with the crew there. So that's all we got. For those of you who are watching the interview, thanks so much. We'd love to, if we can support you in the ministry that you're doing, Elementum would love to do that. If you need any, questions about good taco places in Austin, hit Matt up. Or if you want to hear the good stuff that they're doing at their ministry. He's a part of the Elementum crew. So thanks, Matt, for taking time to interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.